We've used a lot of time. All right, welcome prep ones to our general paper revision. We'll quickly go through some concepts which you need to revise to prepare for your end of term exams. All right. Okay, Alwande, are you ready? Give me your answers quickly. Mostly we'll do it just through oral. I know you can read and write, all right? Okay. What is the name of your school, Alwande? Name of your school?
Destiny Learning Center.
Very good. In yes, you were saying something?
My school is Destiny Learning Center.
In brief, how do we write Destiny Learning Center? Is an abbreviation. We write it. Your school is Destiny Learning Center, but sometimes we write it in brief as an abbreviation. How do we write that? Can you write it for me? Destiny Learning Center in brief. How do we write it? Can you write that? Destiny Learning Center. It's an abbreviation. How do we write that? It's good that you should know how to write it in school, with destiny, with learning, and the word center. And you should note that the D, the capital letter D, capital letter L, and capital letter C. And all right, let me see Alwandem. Alwandem, I said write it in.
Teacher, I'm still writing.
Still writing. I said in brief. Not the whole name Destiny Learning Center, but just in brief. Like for Bulawayo City Council, we just write DCC. What about for Destiny Learning Center? How do we write it in brief? Let me see. All right, okay. And we said in brief, we can just write it as DLC. We just write it as what? DLC. And we make sure that we're writing it in full, we also spell it correctly. Destiny Learning Center, in short, DLC. And in full, make sure that you spell all the words correctly. All right. Who are the people whom we should respect? We talked about respect. Different people we meet, we stay with, even we eat and mingle with, as go to school, go to church, even in our communities. Who are the people whom we must respect? You know, also need even to respect your friends and younger sisters, but most of all, who are the people we must respect?
Our parents.
Our parents, very good. Who else? Who else should we respect besides our parents?
Our teachers.
Our teachers.
Our teachers.
Yes, and who else? Our elders. We must also respect our elders. Anyone who is older than us, yes, make sure that you respect those people as well, besides just your other family members. All right. And which words do we usually use to show respect? Which words do we usually use to show respect or to be polite? Can you still hear me, Alwandem? They've just vanished into thin air. All right. Okay. We should always use the words please if we are requesting for something, and also use the word thank you. The words please and thank you show that we respect. All right. Now let's go on to games. When we have our own free time or leisure time, we usually play games. Which are the games which you usually play? Can you list some games which you usually play? Yes, you can list some like Machayana, you've got Pada, you've got Fish. You can also play ball games. You can also play computer games. There are many games which you can play. All right. And we emphasize that it is important to follow rules when you are playing games to make them more interesting. Because if you cheat, then there's no fairness there and you won't enjoy the games. Make sure that you follow the rules so that the games are orderly. All right. Now let's go on to our country. What is the name of our country? Yes, you all know that our country is Zimbabwe. And we get that name from the monuments of Great Zimbabwe, which are found near Masvingo. All right. And always when you write the word Zimbabwe, because it's the name of a country, you write it with capital letter Z for Zimbabwe. Yes. And you should also be able to identify the shape of the country Zimbabwe. We are given two maps and we are asked which one is Zimbabwe. We should be able to identify our country, which is in a shape which is nearly the same as a teapot. Yes, that's our country, Zimbabwe. And the colors of the flag. Let's go to the colors of the flag. Make sure that you know the colors of the flag. How many colors are there? Usually people confuse between 5 and 7. 7 are the lines which are there, okay? But the colors, you find that some colors are repeated there. Which colors are repeated? So you can't count a color twice, all right? Note that some colors are repeated, all right? Now, when we are singing the national anthem, the song for a country is called the national anthem. When you are singing the national anthem, you should stand in a certain way. What do we call that? We say we are standing at, yes, we are standing at attention. Stand at attention when you are singing the national flag. What does it show? It shows respect. It shows respect. You must respect when you are singing the national anthem by standing with both hands on your side and no doing what? Even if a fly sits on your forehead there or on your nose, just ignore it until the end of the anthem. That shows respect. Okay. And also you should know the school pledge. The very short one for the infants, the school pledge. Which is our school pledge? You must recite it. Recite the school pledge. I won't help you on that one. Go make sure that you are able to recite it. All right. Now let's go on to abuse. What is abuse? Yes. Usually we term it unsafe what? Unsafe touching. Unsafe touching, or something that makes you feel what? Uncomfortable. If someone wants to do something which makes you feel uncomfortable, you must not agree. Don't agree to something which is uncomfortable. All right? So abuses, there are different types of abuses. All right, Alwande, welcome back. You're still trying to connect there with audio. It disappeared. Okay, there are different types of abuse. And we say there are areas which you should make sure that no one touches you. Unsafe areas which should never be touched. Which ones are they? All right, make sure no one touches you on your breast. No one touches you on your head. No one touches you on your private parts. Those are safe places of touching. And never be forced to do anything which you don't want to do. Let your no be a no and your yes be a yes. Only do something when you want to do it. All right. Alwande, welcome back. Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, you disappeared.
Yes.
What's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you disappearing? All right. What is the name of our country, Alwande? Name of our country?
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. How many colors are there on the Zimbabwean flag?
Green, yellow, red, black, white.
I said, how many are there? And there's another one which you didn't. So as you name them, count them. How many are they? How many are they?
Green, red, yellow, black, white. 5 colors of the flag.
5 colors, very good. And we was just talking now about unsafe touching. Unsafe touching. Which areas do we say they are unsafe? Which areas do we talk about? Alondin, now we're having a problem with your gadgets there. All right, we just said your breasts, your back, and your private parts. All right. And then now let's talk about your rights. Alwande, you are back. Your gadget is giving you a problem there. All right, our rights. As a child, you've got a right. Even adults, you've got rights. Everyone has got rights. But let's talk about children's rights. Can you name one? You have a right to? Alwande?
I have a right to my parents.
You have a right to your parents. All right, your parents have a right to look after you. And you have a right to? You have a right to education, isn't it? Yes, that's why you are learning. That's why your parents send you to school and pay fees for you, because you have a right to education. Also, you have a right to? Tell me another right. Alwande?
I have a right to.
Your name is Alwande, so you've got a right to a name, isn't it? You've never heard of someone who is nameless, who doesn't have a name. Yes, and we said our names are always on the, where do you find your name? What tells us that you are Alwande? How do we know that? How do we know Alwande? Where is your name shown? On your? Where is your name written?
Mother's.
Your mother's. Your name is written on your mother. Hmm?
No.
Which document shows that you are Alwande Rico? It's your birth certificate. It's called a birth certificate. What is it called?
Birth certificate.
Good try there. It is a birth certificate. A birth certificate will show us that you are Alwande Rico, and when you grow up, you have an ID, but these days, even your ID number, your birth certificate has got an ID number. That ID, identification document, will tell us that your name, so that you can really tell that this one is Alwande. So you have a right to a name, so you need a birth certificate. When you are sick, where do you go? If you are not feeling well?
To the hospital.
You go to the hospital. The government builds clinics and hospitals, so that when you're not feeling well, you go there. So you have a right to good health. All right? Those are facilities which will help you to have good health. And then water. Talking about water, you have a right to clean water. Where do you get your water from? Alwande, where do you get your water? You get water from?
We get clean water from the tap.
Yes, sometimes there's no clean water coming from the taps. There's no water at all from the taps. What is another source of clean water?
Borehole.
Yes, we put boreholes which have been drilled by the council, so that we can get clean water when there's no tap water. So we have boreholes. So make sure that your containers are clean before you get your water from the borehole. Okay, now let's go on to shelter. We talked about shelter for animals and shelter for people. Okay, where do horses live? What is the shelter for a horse? A horse? Alande? Shelter for a horse? Alwand? You can't remember. Can you choose from a kraal, a stable, a pigsty, an ant hill? Horses, where do they stay? Hmm? You've disappeared again there. All right. So horses live in a stable. A house for a horse is called a stable. And we know that for cows, it's a kraal. For pigs, pigsty, isn't it? And hill, and many others. All right, let's go to human shelter. Human shelter, where do people live? Huh? We've got houses, huts, flats. Others even live in tents. Let's look at a tent. Yes, it is a temporary shelter usually used by people when they go camping. If you've ever gone camping, or you can use it when you have something. Others, when they've got functions, they also use what? Tents. Yes, is a temporal shelter. All right. And we also talked about vulnerable groups, groups of people whom we call the vulnerable groups. Who are those people who are vulnerable? Yes, we talked about the young, the very young, they need our help. Okay, yes, we also talked about who? Those who are aged. If you are very old, let's look at our grandmothers, grandfathers. Some of them are very old and they'll need our help. And who else? Is those who are disabled. Yes, they may be blind, they may be crippled, or they may need help in whatever aspect they need. So those are vulnerable groups and they need our help. Let's make sure that we help them in different ways. All right. So an example of a person who is disabled is one who is using a wheelchair. How do we help someone who is in a wheelchair? Yes, you can help them to move around in their wheelchair. How else? You make sure that you remove obstacles along their way. Those are people who need our help. Do whatever you can. Even the needy, there are others who need help. They may be little children, they have no clothing, they don't have enough, and we have more than enough. Let's help them out. But before you do that, you said always ask from your parents. Don't just take things and they disappear from home. Even if it's for a good cause, ask permission from your parents. And we can even share with them what? Food. Yes, good. So let's help others who are in need. And then food sources. We talked about food coming from different sources. Some we can trace the food to animals, some of the food you can trace it to plants. So we've got animal sources and plant sources of food. For example, let's look at the animal sources. Let's look at animals that provide us with food. Maybe a cow, what does it provide us with? Yes, meat also provides us with milk, even leather. All right, but now we're talking about food specifically. So meat and milk, yes, and from the meat you can make other things like sausages, all right, and minced meat. And then chickens also provide us with what? With eggs and meat, chicken meat. Those are some animal sources. Plant sources, things like beans, they come from a plant, a bean plant. We've got what? Cucumbers, we've got vegetables, we've got fruits. All those are plant sources, yes. So we see that we can trace whatever you eat, try to trace it and find out where it comes from. Like you are eating porridge, try to trace what is that porridge made from. Is it from wheat? Is it from maize? Okay. And then parts of the body, let's look at the parts of the body. Yes, you should know all the different parts of your body, including those which are inside, which you cannot see outside. So we've got external parts of the body and internal parts of the body. Internal parts are the ones which are inside, like the lungs, like the what? Intestines, the heart. They are inside, so they are internal. And then the external parts are those on the outside, which we can see: the nose, the head, the eyes, the elbow, Okay, you can be asked maybe, on which part of the body do we find the eyes? On which part of the body are the eyes? Yes, they're on the head. We call this the head, this big thing from the neck upwards, that's the head. Okay, maybe where do we find, which part of the body do we find the toes? The toes are on the feet or on the legs. All right. And lastly, let's look at personal hygiene. It's important for you to practice personal hygiene. If you don't practice personal hygiene, you may get germs and you'll be affected by different diseases and you get sick or ill. So make sure that you practice personal hygiene by keeping the different parts of your body clean and do it the proper way. Okay, your ears, we said, don't use earbuds, cotton buds, they're dangerous, they can break inside there. And always ask for the help of parents, especially when it comes to cleaning of the ear and the inside part of the nose. When you're cleaning the nose, make sure that you blow your nose and you wipe, especially on the outside, but inside, don't put things inside the nose. All right, and brush your teeth every day, especially before you go to bed. Now, most of us usually brush our teeth in the morning, but before we go to bed, let's not forget. Otherwise, we'll have tooth decay and have a problem. All right, and then in ICT, this time we concentrated on the keyboard. The keyboard, we know the different parts of the computer, and the keyboard, we said it has got keys, it has alphabetical keys, numerical keys, and other keys, like the caps lock. When you want to type capital letter, make sure you use a caps lock. If we are using capital letters, want to change to lowercase, which are the small letters, you also go back to caps lock. All right. When you want to create space between your words, you use the space bar, which is the long bar towards the bottom part of your computer. That's the space bar. To go to the next line, you say to use which one? Yes, enter, enter. If you make a mistake, you use backspace or you can use delete. And then you also looked at the arrows. Yes, upward arrow, downward arrow, and the others pointing sideways. All right, let's learn to use it. And when we are typing, for you to type quickly, make sure you use your both hands. Use both hands. Okay, and you have a finger. Each finger is allocated certain what? Keys for you to be able to type fast. And with practice, then you can type even faster and faster. Okay, also practice drawing. You should learn how to draw. Try to be as accurate as possible, whatever you've been given to draw. These days we have masks, okay? I want you to practice drawing a mask, which we use for covering our mouth and our nose so that the coronavirus does not get inside our mouth or our nose. All right, and we have a practical lesson one time on how to make our own masks. Yeah, we can't be buying them all the time. There are different ways of making masks. If you look around you, you find people wearing masks. Some are made from what? Yes, you buy them ready-made, but we can make our own. We'll use paper mache to make some masks, not only facial masks, but the ones which we are using now, but other masks for playing games with and enjoy. All right, have a blessed day, and I wish you the best in your exams tomorrow. Make sure that you read and understand before you choose your correct answer. Most of the time, you'll be given options. Okay, at this level, we're just giving you two options, and then you must choose only one. Make sure before you choose, you read all the options which have been given to you, and you choose only one option. And then you write it. Write complete sentences and skip a line before each answer. After everyone, you write number one, skip a line. Write number two, skip a line, so that your work is not crowded, so that it's easy to read and easy to mark. All right, I know you can write neatly and accurately. All right, have a blessed day, and I wish you the best in your end of term 2 exams. Bye-bye.